Now, if you go to concerts or ball games, listen up. Restricted ticketing could present some challenges. Now, it prevents anybody from transferring tickets to anyone, even if for school fundraisers, nonprofit organizations, and tickets, they can only be resold through the primary ticket sellers' website services or brokers. Don't bother buying tickets if you're not going to go to the event yourself. You have to present your credit card and photo ID at the event. A lot of people argue that this practice is a good thing because it could help deter people from scalping tickets. I know, Michael, you know, there was, I got my daughter's these Taylor Swift tickets, right? And I fully intended on having my, having my cousin take them, right? Now, basically, I wasn't going to go down to have to travel, schlep all the way down there and then make the handoff. I'm like, I'll go with you, right? 3 hours of my life I can't have back. But my point is, I didn't realize, first of all, when did this happen? When did this change take place? Because it didn't used to be this way.
In New York, we don't have it. It's actually on the books, restricted ticketing, and then every year it gets pushed off the implementation for another year. So we don't have it in New York, but there are in 20, 30 states around the country, and some artists insist on it. We saw Cat Stevens.
This happened in Newark.
Cat Stevens recently, Yusef Salaam, canceled the New York concert because he saw that the tickets on the secondary ticketing market were astronomical, and it was like, well, this wasn't news, it was going to happen. You knew that New York didn't have this law, so I think that was a press gambit or publicity. But the venues, the concert halls, the sports stadiums are built oftentimes with subsidies from the government. To turn away from unbanked and underbanked communities that don't have access to credit cards, or to keep schools or nonprofits from getting tickets gifted to them and then selling them at an auction for development and fundraising purposes, it's not right.
Is your biggest problem with it the equity of it, or is it more the inconvenience attached to it?
I would say it's more the equity and the unfairness of it, and that you are shutting out entire segments of school communities and poorer communities, less affluent communities, from a civic space, right? These venues cannot be built without taxpayer dollars. And it's when it started, the major league franchises, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and all the facilities were working with the web-based ticket resellers until they developed their own platforms, and they said, "No, we're not working together anymore because we want to have our own money." It's a matter of equity, to my mind. It's less dollars and cents.
What
and
about
more
the scalping argument?
So scalping is you can't stand in front of a stadium and say, hey, you know, do you need tickets? You still can't do that. No one's saying you should be able to, but it's turned into a secondary ticketing market where you can sell these things online for whatever the market suggests they'll bear. That's a lot different than, and that's a regulated business. And if you get burned and the tickets don't work, you file a complaint, you get your money back. So it's not buying them on a subway platform, which is how I used to get tickets. But anyway, it is unlawful.
And there's lots of penalties. And in fact, the Attorney General has the authority to go after scalpers. And I know since I've been in the Assembly, we did vote to defer this, at least for another year, push it off. I think I personally am not ready to say that you absolutely have to be the person, as in your case, who bought the ticket. You have to go all the way down there.
Let me play devil's advocate and say somebody wants to go to a concert, and some operation has got 20 guys there that are getting on the phone lines before they even start. They snap up all the tickets, and that they're never intending to go to the concerts. They're just going to get in and sell them on the black market, and the fans or whatever who want to go, they're shut out of this because operations are just reselling them without even using the tickets for what the original intent was.
One thing is there's a range of consumer protection laws that we ought to use as aggressively as possible. Deceptive practices, like, you know, saying I'm buying the ticket and then basically then reselling it at 4 times the price. That's in effect, you know, you're engaging in something that's probably already unlawful. We have to enforce existing consumer protection laws all over the place, including there.
It's
but
hard.
Why?
Though.
I agree it's hard. But the downside is, you know, that the person. There is no market for the school group that buys 30 tickets.
I'd be more open to it if the whole process wasn't so lousy. I mean, it's
there was more transparency.
No, but the whole ticketing process is lousy. The preferred, if you buy we're out of time, so we'll visit it. But it's just hard to get tickets. If it was made more equitable for everybody to try to get in and get an even chance at a ticket, I could see making changes to it. The whole system needs to be refined.
So we've solved everything tonight.
Yeah.
Here. We've solved some of these police shootings. We've solved end of life and ticketing.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Talk to Michael Tobin about that. I'm going to say goodbye to these folks. When I come back, I'll give you some headlines making news around the valley. Stay with us.